Hello and welcome to the Ellen Made Book Club. Today I'm gonna go to Stockholm. I have a bunch of photo albums that I want to get digitized, and there's no company close by where I can get that done to a decent price. So I found a company in Stockholm that can do it for a lot cheaper, and so like for less of the cost I can get a week's stay there. It's a whole thing. It's already like late afternoon and I have about 3 hours drive, so I need to get going, and I just wanted to start this vlog and tell you that I'm going to be listening to 5 by Ilona Bannister. It's a new thriller that just came out. You know that within 5 minutes one of these people in the book are going to die, but you don't know which one. I will talk to you again when I'm at the hotel in Stockholm. I made it, and my room is lovely and I have a lovely view. I requested a room that didn't get sun in the morning because it's too bright, and morning is very early here this time of year. So anyways, I hadn't eaten anything and it was like 9:45. There are some restaurants, but like I don't know the restaurants at all in this area, and I don't have any like, you know, delivery apps and stuff, because where I live, there's nothing to to order from, and I don't know, I hadn't thought that far ahead. So I just looked up where there was a grocery store, and there were a few that were open until 10. So I just jumped in the car and drove there, because in my mind I'm like, I can walk there, but this is a bigger city, so no. So I got there like 3 minutes to 10, and right as I entered the store they were like, we're closing, the alarm is gonna go off. Okay then, so I just sort of grabbed what I could. 2 bananas, some sliced cheese, and I don't know, this, and 2 pieces of bread. I also have a little bit of smoothie left, I think, and maybe like a piece of chocolate. So yeah, that's gonna be my dinner. My head is doing this like thing when you've been driving for 4 hours. I left at like 6, and I was here about 10. There was a long passage of like, I don't know, it was like 30 minutes of just like standing still and just like because of some construction. Anyways, I'm gonna eat my little snack now, and then I guess I can show you the books that I brought. I was going to update you on the book that I was listening to, which was 5 by Ilona Bannister, and I'm really enjoying it so far. There's 5 or 6 characters, there should be 5 characters, but I don't know, that are waiting for the train, and the train is about to arrive in like 5 minutes, and within that time frame someone is going to die, and then we sort of get some backstory of each of these characters. I think we've gotten like 3 so far, and some of them connect, and they all have their flaws, and they all have just backstories that make their current personality, or like that makes sense of that, which I don't know, I always like those kinds of stories when someone is maybe, I don't know, misunderstood or grumpy or unlikable, and then, you know, the more you learn about them, the more empathy you feel for them. I like that kind of story, and I think it's very well written, it's very funny and feels fresh. I haven't actually been to Stockholm before, like on my own. I've been here, you know, for work or for events or to visit family and stuff, but I've never been here to just like explore. I've driven in Stockholm before, but I've always had like someone with me to panic with. I'm only staying in this hotel for 2 nights. I wanted a place with parking for my first night, but I don't want to stay here like for the whole week. So I'm switching hotels on Tuesday, I think. Today is Sunday. And I'm staying until Saturday, like I'm driving home on Saturday. So I brought some books because I'm still doing the Escape the Readathon, which is a competitive readathon, and there are prompts and we don't know which prompts are coming, and then you can read for pages, which then you don't have to worry about prompts. So I brought Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, Wild Boar, I need to switch arms, The Mark by Frida Isberg, which is a science fiction sort of dystopian thing where they're doing sensitivity testing on the population of Iceland. I have The Night of Baba Yaga by Akira Otani, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Filya, who is coming out with a new book this fall, I think, which I think sounds really interesting. It sort of sounds similar to Dominion, which I haven't read yet. There's also some kind of like pastor's wife or something, and you know, patriarchy and stuff like that. There's something of the First Lady something. Rose House by Arcady Martin, and this is a science fiction horror book, and it's also really short, and I also think I have the audiobook for this. And then I also have a new book that I got that I don't think I've shown in a haul or anything, and that is Machine by Susan Steinberg. It's good to have some quick wins for the prompts, and I think this one, like, it's not, you know, there is text on it, but in parts it's very sort of sparse. I also maybe should say something about like my plans for the rest of the week, and I usually do this when I have like a limited amount of time, whether it's like going to the cabin or if I'm like home alone for a couple of days, or if I go on a shorter trip like this and I just feel the need to cram everything into the time that I have. And so I'm trying not to do that this time, and just like take it easy. And like if I decide to just stay in my hotel room and read for the rest of the week, that's fine. I would like to visit some bookstores because I just feel like they might have a different selection here than back where I live. I think that's it for this evening, and I need to get ready for bed, and then I will talk to you more tomorrow. Okay, I did it. I'm back at the hotel now, but I've been to hand in my photo albums, and then I came back to the hotel and just sat outside the hotel for a little bit in the sunshine. It was really nice, and I'm gonna go eat some lunch soon. The breakfast wasn't the best. I had like scrambled eggs and it tasted like weird. I don't know. I didn't fall asleep until I think after 4 sometime this morning, and then I had to get up at like 7:30, so I'm tired today, and it's been a lot like the past few days, just packing all the photos up and marking all of the stuff, and it's just been a lot. And then driving up yesterday, and then being a bit anxious last night. I was also listening to The Island before going to bed. It's a thriller in like an isolated setting at a hotel at this like luxury resort, and so there are a lot of deaths in this hotel. And right when I was like about to go to bed and listening to it, it was like first from one point of view, and she was like, well, you know, what's gonna happen? No one's gonna come and attack me in my hotel room at night, are they? And then the next chapter was like in a different point of view, and like someone's knocking at my door and shouting, and like what's happened? And then, you know, they go and find someone in their hotel room. Just like, let's not listen to that. I'm also not used to like sleeping next to a big road like this, and it's usually fine, but you know, of course at like 3 a.m. they had to clean the bridge or something, so there were like 3 big trucks going across the bridge, and I was gonna film it, but then I was too tired. It's also really weird because the only thing that I had really planned for this week was to hand in the photos before 11 Monday morning, and now I can kind of do whatever. I can go book shopping or go walk in a park, or there's also like a cemetery right next to the hotel here, which looks really nice. I'm thinking maybe I'm just gonna go for a little bit of a stroll in there and listen to my audiobook when I've had my lunch. Today has been a long day, and I feel like this vlog is gonna be really long because it's only Monday, and I just feel like so much has happened already. I had lunch. It was a buffet, and there was lasagna, and so I had the lasagna, and I was gonna go back to have some more. It wasn't very good. It's very like salty, but like it was a buffet, and I was just sitting there and I was listening to my audiobook with my AirPods in, and then this girl comes up to my table and like, "Are you done with these?" And like wanting to take my plate away, and like my, you know, my knife and fork were not, you know, on each side of the plate, and like, so that means I'm not done. Like when you're done, you put them together to one side. I was in my audio book world, and she was just appearing out of nowhere, and so I was just like, yeah. Then she took my plate. Get your plate when you pay, so I couldn't just go get another one. And then I went for a long walk, and like I was just gonna stroll a little bit through the cemetery across the street here. It was really lovely and really beautiful and really like natural looking. Like there are the big, you know, pathways where you walk, but like within the, like where the stones are, there wasn't any like, you know, little trails or anything. It was just like grass, and there weren't like straight lines. Like in parts there were, but like there were a lot of areas where there was just like forest or hedges or like a little labyrinth area, and there was a Catholic section and a Jewish section, and like lots of really old and really big graves and like tombs. Like there was one for a prince, and it just, I don't know, it was just a really cool cemetery to walk around. So I was just like strolling around and listening to my book and just taking lots of clips, because it just looks so cool everywhere. All the trees were like really intricate, and like they're, you know, everything just looked really cool, and so many different things, like the like wild and natural, and just like lots of different species of plants. Like none of the trees were the same. Oh, beautiful and very interesting. Like so big. Like I was walking around forever. I walked at least 4 kilometers in there, maybe 5, and then I needed a shower. So I had a shower, and then I had like a half an hour left on my book, so I finished that, and I loved that one too. I thought it was great. I thought it was very engaging. The chapters or like sections are a bit long because you sort of get to know each person individually. Like it's not jumping around, it's just like we're focusing on this person now and then moving on to the next. Also reminded me a bit of Fredrik Backman's writing style, where it's like all these different people and still going into a lot of depth about their backstory and their issues and problems and relationships. And yeah, there was some representation as well with disability and neurodivergence, and I'm thinking I might put it on the diversity book bingo on the mental health square, which I wasn't expecting from this book, because it sounded like a fast-paced thriller, and that's not, you know, my immediate thought isn't to put that on mental health. But yeah, I thought it was really good, and it kept being funny and emotional and still suspenseful, and it was not taking itself too seriously, which I liked. So I feel like if you sort of like Fredrik Backman's stories, but you think it's like a little bit thick sometimes, like emotional for the sake of being emotional, I think this book sort of makes a little bit fun of that, or like makes light of that, and like sort of comments on itself as a book. And oh, that was, you know, convenient for the plot, things like that, which doesn't always work, but I think it did in this case. I was very involved in all of the stories, and I really cared about all of the characters, and you know, they're not perfect, but they all had my empathy. Now I need to choose another book, and I feel like I'm wanting to read The Night of Baba Yaga finally, but it doesn't fit the prompt that we're currently working toward on Escape the Readathon. So I'm thinking maybe I should pick Rose House instead. And I also need to eat. I ordered some sushi, which Like, figuring out food is by far my least favorite part of any trip. If you just have unlimited funds, you can go to fancy restaurants, I guess, but like also I don't always like, and like especially alone, but like I am always very like particular about things, and I get overstimulated, and like there's too many people and too many noises and things to look at, and the lighting is wrong, and there's a, you know, the temperature is wrong, or it's not always all it's cracked up to be. In my experience, when I don't know the area, it just takes me so long to like figure out what to do. And so tonight I just decided to go with a sushi chain that I recognize from home. Tomorrow I need to check out from this hotel and get into the next one. And I was thinking maybe going to a bookstore tomorrow that I am intrigued by, but we'll see how I sleep, I guess, because I don't want to be driving around because it's stressful to drive here. The roads are big and there's so many lanes, and like I'm used to 1 or 2 tops. I don't want to do that. Tired. Wish me a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Here's the sunset and more trucks having work to do apparently, but also like look at this office. They have this big terrace and then like a freaking greenhouse with furniture in it to keep warm. I don't know what that is, but it looks like a nice office. It's now Tuesday and I've just checked out from my first hotel. I can't check in until 4 o'clock and it's now 11. It's a bit rainy and windy today, and so I figure today is a good day to go into the center and visit some bookstores, but the issue is parking. I think I found like a parking garage, but I have no idea if like it's usually full or what the situation is. I just want to give it a try and see if I can find one and see if I can get to some bookstores. So that was stressful and unsuccessful. I got to Södermalm, which is where the bookstore is that I wanted to go to, and I was, you know, trusting my GPS trying to get to this like parking garage, and it kept telling me to go places where I couldn't go. I think I got honked at like 3 times. One time I think I was gonna go into like a tunnel the wrong way. I saw the one-way street sign like at the very last second, and at the same time this big truck was honking at me. They were trying to warn me like, don't go in there. And then there was this like crossing, like pedestrian crossing, and so I stopped, and then someone honked at me behind me. And then the third time I was at another intersection. It felt like I was stopping in the middle, but there was a red light, and so I stopped, and then the light turned green, but at that very moment there was like a tram thing, like because I was gonna cross the rails and it was still moving in my direction. So I didn't want to just go, but it was stopping, but I've never been there, so I was like hesitant, and then they started honking behind me, and like it was very stressful, and I went the wrong way around like 2 or 3 times because I tried to like set different locations, like I want to go here on the map, and the GPS kept routing me these wrong ways, and I just ended up on the same loop. And then I was crossing bridges and I was on different islands, and it was also raining, so like everyone who was out walking or biking and stuff and like wanting to cross the street were just like, I mean, people are crossing the street all kinds of ways anyways, but it felt like it was extra crazy because it was raining and everyone was just trying to get out of the rain. Anyways, I drove back to my next hotel, and I still can't check in, but like right next to it there's this big mall called Mall of Scandinavia, and I just figured I could go here. You know, there's no rain, and I guess there's at least one bookstore I can go to, even if it's like, you know, it's the big chain one, and so I'm not expecting the selection of books in English to be great, but hopefully it's better than where I live. Okay, I'm now at hotel number 2, and all of today has been very stressful and very complicated and very frustrating, and I'm just not made for this. Yeah, I talked to you in the parking garage underneath the Mall of Scandinavia, and I went up there and walked around, and it's big, and so many stores and so many restaurants and so many floors and just lots of people, and there's always music playing from like 3 places at once. I was wearing my like wool cardigan, and I was so hot, and I wasn't really looking for anything in particular. The only thing that I wanted to look at was books. I went to the bookstore, which is a chain that, you know, I have in my hometown as well, and this one wasn't bigger or anything, and like they had a few different ones that they don't have, like the English books that I haven't seen in my town, but like, yeah, I was not impressed at all. But I did end up buying a few books because what else was I gonna do? So I'll show you those in a second. And then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for food. I don't know, I can't make decisions. And I can't process information about like new places and what to order and like which one is good, and like it's just too much for me. Completely fried in my brain, and also like having driven and all of that, and like I haven't eaten yet, and like my original plan was to sit down somewhere in a coffee shop and, you know, read for a bit, but I didn't bring any books apart from the ones that I had bought, but like I'm reading another one, and so I don't know, I make things so complicated all the time. And then I decided to just go into one of the grocery stores instead. So there's my snack haul, or like half of it. The other half is in the little fridge, halfway through a salad that I bought and a coffee that is gone cold long time ago, because after I was in the mall, I needed to get to my hotel, and the GPS kept telling me the wrong way again, so I went the wrong way like 2 times, because there's like a road above the other road, and I didn't understand how to get onto the top one. Like there's no parking for the hotel. There's a big event place and Mall of Scandinavia right next to this hotel, and so you just are supposed to find parking elsewhere. So like I don't know my way around, and everything is like a building site, and the markings aren't clear, and like the signage isn't clear, and I don't know how anything works. So I was very frustrated, and again I haven't eaten. And I tried calling the hotel to get directions, and they didn't pick up. Eventually I found my way into the reception and could check in and get instructions for parking and everything, and so I did all that, and then, you know, checked into my room, and then I realized that the room was not what I had asked for, because I wanted a room that didn't have morning sun. Like I wanted northwest, which I had expressed when I booked the room, and I asked again in the reception, and they were like, yes. And then I come up to the room, and it's like, this is southeast facing. So the exact opposite of what I wanted. So I had to bring all my bags again and go down again and change rooms. So now I'm in this room facing northwest. So I'm finally happy, and I have all of my snacks. I bought every single snack I could think of. I got all the things, because I am not leaving this room again until breakfast tomorrow. And if I can avoid it, maybe I won't even do that. Also, like the only stores I went to in Mall of Scandinavia, like I've gone all the way to Stockholm, and I'm in this big mall with all of the stores. And the stores that I went into was the bookstore, which is the same chain that I have at home. And then I went to the grocery store, which is the same one that I have at home. And it wasn't, you know, anything special or anything. And then I also went to a pharmacy place, which I also have at home, to get a Band-Aid. I haven't read anything today either, because it's just been chaos and trying to survive. Finding some books in a room to stay in, how difficult can it be? Very difficult if you're me. That rhymed. I will finish my salad, and then I can show you the books that I got. I got this for my pen refills stickers that are like this fun colors, which I put when I finish a book. I got Strange Pictures by Uketsu. I think I have the audio, but like this is one that you would want to have a physical copy for. Caitin at Spill the Reads will be happy, because I got Sky Daddy by Kate Folk. which is about this woman who wants to marry a plane by crashing with it. I started reading like just the first page and it read very quickly, like it was a fun time to read. And then I saw this book, which is called The Many by Sylvain Nouvelle. This is a sci-fi novel, and it says, when advertising executive Carol Villieu loses it at Booker's donut shop and bites Booker on the arm, it's about the most interesting thing to happen in a small city of Marquette, Michigan in years. But that's only the beginning of the story. Carol and Booker find their minds merging in a collective that extends to include Carol's husband, Shivansh, and local doctor Evelyn Schlapp. The four of them become the beginning of something larger and stranger than they could ever have imagined. I don't know, it just seemed like a fun time. The first chapter seems to be about a tick. The final one I got was Gunk by Saba Sams. That's probably not how you say that name, but it says, Jules works at Gunk, a karate student nightclub in central Brighton. She spends her night serving shots and watching from behind the bar as her ex-husband Leon flirts with students on the dance floor. But then Leon hires 19-year-old Nim to work the bar. When Nim discovers she's pregnant, Jules agrees to help. As the months pass and the relationship between the two women grow increasingly intimate and perplexing, it emerges that Nim has her own unexpected gifts to give. I wasn't expecting it to be so much about motherhood, but I guess the big egg on the cover was a clue. And I also did read the first page, which was also about like being pregnant and babies and stuff. I just felt like the writing sounded fun, so these are the ones that I got. And I'm very happy with my little haul. I'm having a very chill day today and just staying in my hotel room and reading, and this is my current view, which I'm very much enjoying. And we just made it to a new room in Escape the Readathon, and so I have, with the help of my friends, chosen my next read, which is going to be Strange Pictures by Uketsu. It's now a bit later and I have gotten sushi again, because I mean, how could I not get sushi with this book? I read like the first sort of chapter story and I'm not sure if I understood it correctly, but if I did, I kind of got it immediately, like predicted what it was. So we'll see how I go with the rest of them and if they are connected and if I maybe misunderstood something. I'm not really sure. I also got 2 pieces of mochi ice cream, which I've never had before. So I'm trying to be a little bit adventurous and try something new, even though I am a creature of habit and safety. I hope they last in the fridge. Yeah, I'm gonna have my sushi now and continue reading my book. On Thursday, I decided to take a cab into the city center to do some book shopping. I visited 3 bookstores that were all within walking distance of each other, but I tried really hard to just enjoy my day for me and not worry too much about the video. So I didn't film a lot. If you're interested, I will leave information about the bookstores in the description box, as well as a link to a video from another creator who did a much better job of showing the bookstores that I went to. The footage you can see here is from the English bookshop on Södermalm, which I loved. I didn't film the literary fiction section, but they had so many books I was interested in and I ended up buying a lot. Then I went to Söderbokhandeln and Science Fiction Bokhandeln, where I got even more books. There will be a book haul video coming soon, or perhaps a couple of them, because yeah. Anyways, I also have some catching up to do on reading wrap-up videos, so those will be coming, as well as some kind of wrap-up on Escape the Readathon and summer TBRs and things like that. So yeah, stay tuned. On Friday, I went and picked up my photos, and I stayed at the hotel the rest of the day reading, and then I drove home on Saturday. Despite all of my struggles and complaints, I had a really good time in Stockholm, and I hope you enjoyed coming along with me. I also hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.